Hello and welcome to Filibusters in Fine Print, where AMGA's public policy team gives you the insider view on healthcare regulations and legislation. Thanks so much for joining us for the latest from Washington, D.C.
Good morning and welcome to Filibuster in Fine Print, AMGA's public policy podcast. I'm here with the usual AMGA public policy expert team. And why don't we say hello? I'll start to the left.
Hello.
Well done. Well,
Thank you. Alicia Sawyer, Government Relations Assistant, really good at following directions.
outstanding.
Hello, Lauren Lightney, Director of Government Relations here at AMGA.
Hi, everybody. It's Daryl Drevna, Senior Director of Regulatory Affairs.
Jamie Miller, Ambassador Goodwill here at AMGA.
All right. I'm glad you all are here. My best friend in college, when we played lacrosse, used to say, get your excuses out early and they become reasons. So I got a COVID shot yesterday. So a little slow today. So if things don't go as well as usual, I will blame COVID. And did you like the way I got in the fact that I was a college athlete?
We all noticed
Yeah.
I just thought you were talking about Congress. You're like, get your excuse out early. Like, isn't that how Congress functions? Period.
Start working in his stats at every episode. How many shutouts?
And that was Division One, by the way. Anyway.
Was it really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Hey, look at
You
this.
sounded surprised.
No, that was a softball.
Who was your sponsor back then? Did you have like Nike or Champion or Reebok? How'd that
I
work?
think it was Miller Lite
No, but I mean, who paid for the uniforms?
probably
Were they
true.
paid for by somebody? Or
at the university.
okay.
The fine people of New York.
Yeah, pretty much. Mesh jerseys. It was great back then.
Mesh jerseys.
Mesh jerseys and a half cut.
Just
Oh,
injected into my veins.
That was later in the 80s.
Did everybody have hockey haircuts back then?
We did.
It's a nice way to say mullet.
Okay, I was about to say, what's a hockey hair?
It's a nice way to say
I had the mullet going for a while. It was great.
beef near the mullet.
Do we get to see a picture of this? Of the mullet?
If we had cameras, yeah, but we don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Send this out.
And we share a mic, so no, right.
This was about to be a train wreck.
Yeah, because like I can't get the budget passed. Thank you. What?
Season 3.
Season 3?
That's
Season 3, okay.
Well, see, we're stopping season 2 today. Next week is season 3.
All right, well.
It's about to get really awkward.
Yeah.
Transition to our topic.
Oh, yeah.
Daryl is getting
In a
us back
somber
on
note.
track.
Yeah.
So let's talk immediate results.
Yeah.
All right. And I believe we have a scenario to open up.
Yeah, so immediate resulting, right? So you find out as soon as your labs imaging and all that gets available, you're going to get a push notification on your computer or phone, and that is how we found out what type of breast cancer my wife had as we were waiting in line at TSA to come back on a flight from LA. So the question was, do we click on this and open it up to see like, hey, you might need a double mastectomy? Or do we, wait until we get home and, have that hanging over us the whole flight? Unfortunately, we opened the results and it was not as severe, if you can put it in those terms, as it was. But it was really agonizing, and there's no way for us to talk to a doctor or anybody. So it was just us and, the good folks at TSA, and we're standing there waiting, holding up the line a little bit, looking at our phones, like, what do we do?
It is a crazy scenario and repeated all over the country.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
I'm glad.
Yeah, she's doing great now.
Yeah,
She's doing great.
Which is exciting. But what a conundrum. So where did this come from? This obviously, well, to us, poorly designed regulation. Where did this come from?
Yeah.
21st century cures. Remember back in the day when people used to pass like major bipartisan bills?
That was a long time
It
ago.
was 2016. Let's go back to when President Barack Obama was still in office. This was a major breakthrough that came out of Energy and Commerce Committee. I remember it was Diana DeJet that was leading it for the Dem side. I can't remember the Republican, but he has since retired.
Yeah.
Was it Fred Upton? It was Fred Upton from
Oh,
Michigan.
he was a nice guy.
He was a nice guy.
Yeah.
So essentially,
Kate Upton is his niece.
Really?
Oh yes,
Really?
yes,
I was
yes.
about
That is-
to say
that is
that's
true. That is
I
true.
didn't know about 2016.
And he used to work at O&B back in the day of the Reagan administration. So he
That
was
wasn't as fun as the kid.
he was one of
Should have started with that one.
Upton was a very, very knowledgeable member of Congress
He was good.
Yeah.
and thoughtful.
Charity
Republican.
NC. Yeah.
Yeah. Very personable. So essentially, basically passed this massive piece of legislation that was supposed to help. It's really sort of FDA focused in a lot of ways of how do we accelerate some of the breakthroughs and cures that we're seeing now. But some of that also had to do with EHRs, which were all the rage in 2015 and 2016 as well. Like, how do we sort of bring our healthcare information system into the 21st century? Pun intended, I guess. And so one of those things was information blocking. How do we empower patients to have access to their own data? And how do we make sure that we're ensuring that providers are sharing that data in an immediate fashion?
Yeah, and I think go back to the bygone era of 2016. It passed the Senate 94-5, House 392-26, and it was kind of like macro, where in 2015 the Energy and Commerce Committee worked for years and worked with people and got Republicans and Democrats to vote on the bill. But as you mentioned, Lauren, this is much bigger. It was about precision medicine, opioid abuse, overdose, and things like that. So, but the immediate resulting came out through the rulemaking process, and that's something that our members are aware of and concerned with.
All right, just to sum. So Congress was concerned about information blocking, where providers would block information to their patients. And so they wanted to change that. So patients got the results immediately. So there's no more information blocking. Is that sort of?
I think that's part of it. The Cures Act talks about information blocking, and then ONC over at HHS is interpreting the statute. So information blocking is any practice that interferes with, the access, exchange, or use of electronic health information. And based on that, ONC has crafted the regulations around it. So there's this quote unquote immediate resulting interpretation. So that means, your labs, pathology, radiology, everything that goes to the patient portal immediately as soon as it's available. And there are some exceptions to this. ONC has recognized there might be, some legitimate reasons to limit access. So they've got this, 8 exceptions, preventing harm, privacy, security, and feasibility, health IT performance, content matter, fees and licensing, that sort of thing. And the one that we're talking about today is the preventing harm. And the way the statute or the way the regulation is currently crafted is a really limited exception. So providers can delay delay the release of information if it would substantially harm the patient or another person.
And that is physical harm, is that right?
Right, physical
so only
harm.
physical harm.
Only physical harm. So if you think this is going to if the immediate release of this information is going to cause the patient to either harm themselves or someone else, or if like a third party having access to information would cause them to harm someone else or the patient. In this context, they're really talking about like a domestic abuse type situation.
Okay. All right. So actual physical harm.
Right.
So what type of abnormal results are patients receiving? You talked about Heather's scenario, situation. What other types are going on?
Yeah, happy to jump in here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, as Daryl mentioned before, his wife receiving test results regarding her cancer diagnosis. I mean, imagine it's 11 p.m. on a Friday and you get a notification that you have results available regarding a cancer diagnosis, and there is no healthcare provider to speak with until Monday, and you have to sit with whatever that says over a whole weekend. Or you can also receive information regarding pregnancy loss, and so patients learning of miscarriages through automated portal notifications, including a notification regarding infectious diseases, what positive test results without context or counseling, and the harm that all of those things can do mentally and emotionally is just distressing.
Agree 100%. So Jamie, there's some misinterpretation going on also?
Yeah, I mean, think about these patients seeing abnormal but clinically insignificant results, but how do you determine as a layperson what is insignificant, what is significant? Think about when you call your doctor on a Saturday and you get the line because the office is closed, and they say, if this is a medical emergency, call 911. Well, who determines what the medical emergency is? And so the person is concerned. So they go to the ER and this unnecessary ER visit. And not just money, but especially if like we're dealing with a pandemic or something like that, you just don't want people in the ER for unnecessary reasons. They could potentially leave the hospital, leave the ER before a full evaluation is complete, so premature departure. And then there's also genetic findings around prenatal and genetic information via portal alert. That's something where you want to be able to ask follow-up questions.
You need context.
You need context, yeah. And so those are some scenarios right just there.
Okay, they're not getting it at all.
Correct.
Context.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's,
Okay.
I think, what Jamie was talking about. Those are, those are stories our members are telling us. Our members are saying, hey, we've had people leave the ER early because they get one test result, think they're fine, and they're not waiting for the rest of the results where there might be a problem or not. So this works on both sides. Both patients and providers are having issues with this.
All right. So, Lauren, what are patients saying about immediate results?
So there's a word that's here that I will probably now just incorporate into my normal language called scanxiety.
I did love seeing that. And I was like, scanxiety feels real.
It's I felt it with scanxiety just reading it, right? I was like, oh, I've experienced this before. It's
Sure.
like you have a serious illness, you're already in heightened stress, you're already in sort of that panic mode. So while you're waiting for those results to come back, like a cancer screening, receiving potentially bad news through a text or an email notification rather than a conversation with a provider, it exacerbates that distress. It also can be a misinterpretation of medical terminology. If you don't have a medical background, you see something slightly abnormal, like a benign tissue, you might panic and start Googling online, which is
Dr. Google?
Dr. Google,
That's
which
a
is
problem.
you never feel better after you Google something. Like if it's some sort of illness. And so this could lead to unnecessary worry. You also weekend worry. You get something on Friday night and you have to think about worrying all weekend before you can contact the doctor. It might get an urgent sounding automatic notification. It might not follow up with immediate guidance. And a lot of members are also reporting they're putting their lab results into AI. AI is getting incorporated into so many different things. And what does that look like in terms of a personal connection with your patient?
Remarkable. So I know, and we sent a letter just a couple days ago, but this isn't the first time we talked about this, right, Daryl?
Right. We sent a letter to ONC and actually had a meeting with them back in 2021. And, basically, this is when the reg first came out and there was a lot of confusion about, what do we have to do? How does this rule work and that sort of thing. And these unintended consequences, these like sort of worst case scenarios that we've been mentioning and patients being confused and getting these diagnoses without any contacts or support, those are happening right off the get-go. So this is not a new problem. It's sort of, it's been a long-standing concern of our members, and they've been bringing it to our attention really ever since these rules first went into effect.
All right. Well, this seems so common sense that we need context before these things are, before these things are sent out immediately, resulting in, frankly, harm. Why can't we just withhold this information?
Sure. Patients want it.
They do.
They do. So they do surveys, patient surveys. The vast majority of patients want immediate access to the information. Follow-up questions will be like, what about if there's a bad outcome here? And then all of a sudden the numbers start to shift a little bit. Mm-hmm. So theoretically, generically, everyone wants access to their information as soon as it's available. It's when you start digging down, all of a sudden those numbers start to shift. And it is their information. So there is that concept of they have a right to this and it should be available as soon as possible. I think the other thing that's shifting is that, paternalistic view of medicine. It's not 1950, 1960 where doctor knows best. That's just, patients don't respond to that sort of mentality, that sort of relationship with your clinical team anymore. And then, we're not talking about children by and large here. Like, these are adults and,
Right.
potentially that's the argument we're going to hear. It's like, it's their information. They're capable of handling it. It's your responsibility as a provider to prep them for whatever this test result may be, so they're not distressed when it comes in. Now, obviously, we know from talking to our members that's not how it's playing out. Right. That's the other side of the argument.
So is Congress or the government allocating funding to our members to do these things, like, or is this an unfunded mandate? I mean,
it's just part of there's no money behind it. It's like you need to set up your ER system so it does this. I will say, if you are blocking information, you're going to be subject to civil monetary penalties and that sort of thing. CMPs, yeah.
Okay. All right.
But if our members want to set up something where they could give more access, like we're taking out of our pocket to pay for those kind of things, like.
No, if you want to set up some sort of like program to prep your patients and walk them through how this is going to work and all that, there's no funding stream to help cover this.
Yeah.
So, Lauren, other concerns that we're hearing?
Some equity concerns. All patients deserve equal access to their data, regardless of the provider responsiveness. Also concerned about preventing delays. And my friend Monica has a similar story to Heather. My friend Monica has triple negative breast cancer. It's a very aggressive type of cancer. She was about to go to visit her family in Ohio. She gets the immediate results, but she was able to talk to her doctor because they're like, we got to get you into treatment immediately. So to prevent those types of delays is incredibly important. Might be an emergency situation. Like said, with Monica, they had to immediately start working critically on those results. It also builds trust. There's transparency there, and there's transparency. There's connection. And then in a 2021 context, some providers were genuinely delaying results inappropriately, which is unprofessional in my opinion, and also just adds to the anxiety that people already had.
All right. All right, fair enough. So there's always two sides to every issue. So it's been 4 years. So what's changed and why are we concerned still about this issue?
So one of the things that hasn't changed over the last 4 years is that we're still hearing reports from AMGA members on problems and confusion with immediate resulting. And there's been some work to try to improve the process for patients. The Open Notes movement was developed in the aftermath of this rule and legislation, and they study patients' perspectives and preferences. And as Daryl mentioned, patients want these results, and so Open Notes provides recommendations for providers to help provide the context for results and to share those notes after visits with providers to give context for what future results are. And that's one of the industry attempts to find solutions to this problem.
Okay.
I think the other thing is, just recently Secretary Kennedy came out and just instructed, HHS to put an emphasis on enforcement against information blocking. So he didn't immediately, directly call out immediate resulting, this sort of thing, but information blocking is going to be a priority for this HHS team. So I think that's why this sort of trickled up again.
Okay. All right. And so we have two sides. What's the solution? Do we have one?
We do. I think it's a middle ground. Obviously that old style of, doctor knows best and we're going to hold on to this until we, piecemeal it out to you is never going to fly. But I think what we can do is make some changes to the regulation to expand that preventing harm exception to include mental or emotional harm. Right? If you expand that and say, let us put a delay or a safe harbor for a good faith effort to maybe put this up to like delay results up to 72 hours. It's not that long of a time. So we have a chance to, talk to our patient, to prep them, to release these in person. We can, so that's one aspect of this. The other part is, working with EHR vendors to come up with a technological solution like, hey, instead of pushing out the result, it should, you could maybe have an option for the patient, say, I need this held. So you can click in your My Chart or what have you to withhold the information until you have a follow-up appointment. And we've been really consistent on these. This is not a new policy for us. This is what we came out with when we first met with the ONC team a couple of years ago. But I think, the stories and the concerns we're hearing from our members have just gotten a little worse over the years. And now if they're going to emphasize information blocking, I think it's, good to revisit these.
Come back to the 4.
Yeah.
Again. Okay. So what happens next?
Well, we requested a meeting with the folks over at, I guess they rebranded. It's ASPT now, Assistant Secretary for Technology Policy. So,
Yeah.
So, ONC.
Okay.
Yeah, rebranded.
FKAONC.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So we'd
SDC.
like to sit down, talk to them. We've got a whole bunch of members who would love to talk to them, bring their stories, and really come up with a viable, workable solution that really respects the fact that this is patients want access to their information as quickly as possible, while also recognizing that, hey, we're causing a whole lot of emotional distress and a whole lot of confusion. And to Jamie's point, unnecessary ED visits or patients leaving the ED. So it's disrupting the care process, care delivery. So let's find a middle ground here.
Makes sense. And the middle ground is oftentimes the best ground.
I think so.
Okay, good. Any final thoughts from the team? No from Jamie over here.
Jamie?
Nope.
Nope.
Alicia?
I'm good.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't think
I don't
Let's call a man in baseball
Yeah.
forever. That was Major League.
Well, I don't recall if anyone said this, but it's on the outline that Daryl wrote, and the goal.
We missed something?
Well,
Oh my God.
it was under the any final thoughts.
Oh, okay.
But I like the way it sounds. The goal isn't to choose between patient access and patient care. It's to achieve both.
Oh, a good tagline.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah, thanks, Daryl.
Lauren?
I'm going to quote Daryl's letter so that he doesn't have to.
We're stealing his demon moments.
We are getting... Yikes.
As Daryl brilliantly quoted in his letter.
It's like Clarence Thomas. He's quoting himself.
Advancing patient access while ensuring the information is delivered in a way that promotes understanding, minimizes harm, and strengthens the patient-provider relationship.
I'm going to put that on a bumper sticker.
And that is a beautifully written sentence, so congratulations.
I appreciate that.
All right, why don't we end with that, shall we?
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you all very much. And to all our listeners, we hope you all have a very good day.
Thanks for joining us for Filibusters in Fine Print. This podcast was brought to you by AMGA. For more information about AMGA's advocacy efforts, visit amga.org/advocacy.